It's kind of important to me, yes, where the billionaires have their money. I know when I mentioned dumping those foundations over, well, at 5% a year, and then the expenses, I think it's closer than a 4% actual spent on charity. Yes. And if it was closer to 10 to 15%, we could really empty them out over the next 20 to 40 years. Use some sort of mathematical formula to figure out that by the end of your lifetime, because Bill and Melinda, they're young. Bill will probably live to 100 years old. Yes. But let's say we emptied out that $43 billion. dollars. Now, 15% would be $6 billion dollars a year for the next 20 years. And then considering that the market always goes up and you always have successful investments, there's no any losers in any of these foundations, is there? Because let's say we looked at the last 60 years of foundation investments, and it seems that billionaires never make a wrong investment. They never lose. Yes. But I'd like to know every investment that did not return what you anticipated when you invested the money as a foundation was a complete loss. You know, the easiest way to spend money that's not accounted for, yes, is to put it in a tax deferred account. Make a big investment because of the promise of the returns that you're going to get, and then find out that it lost money and we lost everything. But when you're working with billions upon billions of dollars, yes, one of those billion-dollar investments that was supposed to return 15% a year for the next 20 to 40 years. You know how it is in investing. I was a stockbroker myself, and I looked at the different investments and how good they're going to do. It's easy to explain the loss, isn't it? That's part of investing. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee of return. But if you lost money strategically, kind of like premeditated, deliberately, yes, we invested in the company and we were promised that it would do really, really good. And we lost our money as a foundation. And we were very upset with the individuals that ran the actual corporation. But there was nothing we could do. We couldn't file a lawsuit. In fact, get me the lawsuits of every foundation that wanted to go so green. Choo, 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 choo. Now, I know there's corporate activism, as in the Atari of the 1980s. Choo, choo. You remember? There was two different consoles. I got an Atari when I was approximately 10 to 11 years old. Maybe Bill Gates remembers before there was the Microsoft operating system. Yes, the Commodore VIC-20. The Texas Instruments. How is Texas Instruments? You know, I think they're still going concern because Radio Shack sells a lot of their products. Yes. Why don't you give me every Radio Shack in the United States and every purchase of every individual that purchased anything at Radio Shack? They're really the only competition to Best Buy, aren't they? Oh, shoot. I thought I would buy up all the empty Circuit City stores. Yes, yes, yes. This cutthroat corporation that we have that is always involved in political activism and environmental concerns. I thought we'd sell Yoo-Hoo laptops and desktops at old Circuit City locations. In fact, excuse me, I had called Hu Jintao, the former president of China. I said, considering the location of all the Circuit City stores everywhere in the United States, we as a company, we're going to need to have physical locations where individuals can go in, have their hands measured. Yes. Use some technology to measure their actual physical body. Yes. They could walk in, we could order it for them and have it delivered almost next day from China. Now you know how people are about purchasing items. They really want to touch it before they buy it. As the international sales director for the Yoo-Hoo Superspace Hypercomputer Gender Specific Computing Company with the cell phones and electronic cigarettes are removed things. My thought was we could buy up all these locations where Circuit City had failed. Just make some innovation. We'd be a real competitor to the iPhone. Which, in fact, when I was staying in Auburn, I was staying at my grandmother's house now, and there was this Asian guy at one of these Asian stores where they sell all these cheap discounted items that a lot of people find attractive. In fact, myself, I find them attractive. They're the type of Asian items that if you had a need for something, yes, you would go in there. Well, I told Hu Jintao. I said he's actually a spy from Microsoft. He just doesn't know it, so that Apple can spy on what I was doing. I decided to confront Apple head on so as to compete in the iPhone market. Now I know Tim Cook's real busy right now building a new place down there in California, are you? Which you still have all those Apple stores? No. Why don't you get me every employee of Apple and every GPS logo?